Hello students, in previous biology class, we discussed about the process of photosynthesis. Our today's topic is components of photosynthesis. As we discussed in our previous class, this photosynthesis exhibited by the green plants. And we discussed the equation of photosynthesis also, where we saw that 6 atoms of carbon dioxide reacted with 12 atoms of H2O in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to produce 1 atom of glucose plus 6 atoms of O2 plus 6 atoms of H2O, and energy is also produced in this formula or in this reaction. So the basic components of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. So these are the 4 basic components of photosynthesis event. Let us discuss these components one by one in detail. So our basic or the first component is chlorophyll. This chlorophyll pigment is actually found in chloroplast. Chloroplast is a special type of cell organelle that only found in plant cells. So if we study the structure of a plant or structure of a plant leaf, then we found that plant leaf has the outermost layer that is known as epidermis. So these type of actually flattened cells are present in plant cells outermost area. There are some openings in its lower surface. This is known as stomata. We discussed stomata in previous class also. So the outermost layer of a plant leaf is known as epidermis. And this opening is known as stomata. And these two cells that present in the stomatal opening is known as guard cells. Beneath this epidermis cell, a special type of tissue is present. That tissue is known as mesophyll. And the mesophyll tissue is composed of 2 types of parenchymal cells. First one is known as palisade parenchyma. So this palisade parenchyma is actually this type, elongated shape. This is known as palisade parenchyma, and some of the parenchymal cells are of this type, means kind of rounded shape. These are known as spongy parenchyma. So these are palisade and these are spongy one. Both the types of palisade and spongy parenchyma composed of chloroplast, and the chloroplast have this chlorophyll pigment in it. So the palisade parenchymal cells and the spongy parenchymal cells have chloroplast in it. And in the center of this actually present the vascular bundle, means vascular bundle means the composition of xylem and phloem cells. Okay, the xylem and phloem. So if we discuss the detailed structure of chloroplast, then we will see that chloroplasts have two membrane bound organ uh, two membranes in its outer layering. So it has a chloroplast actually is a double membrane bound cell organelle. What? Double membrane bound cell organelle. In chloroplast, we see some sac-like structures, some flattened sac-like structures of this kind. This flattened sac-like structure is known as thylakoid. This is known as thylakoid. And this flattened sac-like structure have different stalks in it. The stalks are known as granum. Plural form of granum is grana. Okay, so the flattened sac-like structure is known as thylakoid, and each stalk is known as granum, and the plural of granum is grana. The rest of the area is filled up by a matrix or a liquid medium. So this liquid medium is known as stroma. Chlorophyll is actually present in between this thylakoid stalks. So if we talk about the location of chlorophyll, then the chlorophyll is present in chlorophyll is actually found in thylakoid. So the light dependent reaction of photosynthesis, we will discuss what is light dependent reaction in later classes. So the light dependent reaction of photosynthesis actually exhibit in the thylakoid of chloroplast. Next, the pigment is, or next the compound is actually carbon dioxide. Second component is carbon dioxide. So the terrestrial, we have two kinds of plants actually. One is terrestrial plant and another one is aquatic plant. Terrestrial plants or the land plants actually takes CO2 from direct atmosphere, and the aquatic plant absorbs CO2 from water. Now, if we look the structure of a plant cell or a leaf, then we discussed that there are some openings in the leaf area or the green part of the plant, and this opening is known as stomata. And the stomatal pore guarded by this cells known as guard cells. We all have guards in our colony. So this stomatal pore is actually guarded by a cell known as guard cells. Stomatal opening remains closed when the photosynthesis event don't occur. Means photosynthesis process or the absorption of CO2 or the first reaction of photosynthesis is actually the light dependent phase, and this phase occurs in daytime. When it is night time, the stomatal opening remains closed. It remains closed because if it remains open, then the excess water present in the mesophyll cells or mesophyll tissue, uh, it actually evaporated, or it actually the water actually molecule lost in this openings. The water molecule lost in this openings. So the stomatal pore remains closed when photosynthesis event don't occur. But in daytime, when the photosynthesis event occurs or photosynthesis event started, stomatal pores used to open up. The process is actually the water from mesophyll cells enters into the guard cell, and the guard cell swells. When water enters into the guard cell swells, and the swelling of guard cell remains the pore to open. The swelling of guard cell, the swelling process of guard cell is actually help to open the stomatal opening or the stomatal pore. When water flows from this guard cell, when water enters, the guard cell swells. But when water flows from this guard cell, the guard cell actually shrinks, and the stomatal opening or stomatal pore closed. So the absorption of carbon dioxide depends on the opening and closing of the stomatal pore that is present in leaves of green plants. The next component of photosynthesis is water. Next is water or H2O. Green plants absorb water from soil via their roots. If we study the structure of a root, or if we look at the detailed structure of root, it has this portion is known as the permanent region, where the roots have their branching. The second portion, this portion is the growing part. This is the permanent region. This is the growing region. And beneath the growing region, there are some hair-like structure in the roots of plants. This is the root hair region, and below this root hair region there is a cap-like structure. This is known as root cap. Water is actually absorbed by this root hair. So this portion of plant is actually actually helps to absorb H2O from soil. H2O along with other minerals also. So the root hair of plant absorbs H2O, also some minerals from the soil. So the H2O or mineral that is absorbed by the root hair of plant is a major component of photosynthesis process. The excess water actually lost by the stomatal pores and remaining is utilized in the process of photosynthesis. Our last component is sunlight. Entrapping of sunlight is exhibited by the chlorophyll pigment. The solar radiation, total solar radiation that reaches our Earth's surface, only 1% of it is utilized in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so the only 1% of solar radiation that reaches our Earth's surface is entrapped in the process of photosynthesis or is utilized by the green plants in the process of photosynthesis. Entrapping of the sunlight happened by the chlorophyll pigment, or the chlorophyll pigment is actually activated in the presence of sunlight. And this sunlight, the energy present in sunlight converted into chemical energy in photosynthesis process. So there are basically 4 components of photosynthesis. The first one is chlorophyll, second one is carbon dioxide, third one is water, and the last one is sunlight. Along with these 4 components, there are also some other components that help in the process of photosynthesis. So these are actually nitrogen. Plant can't absorb free nitrogen from atmosphere. Plant actually absorb nitrogen in the form of nitrate or other nitrogen compound. Then the second one is sulfur, then magnesium, etc. So these compounds or these minerals actually, these minerals are absorbed by the root hair when water absorption happens. Means these minerals are taken up by the root hair from soil. So these are actually the helping components in the process of photosynthesis, and with the help of this nitrogen or the nitrate and sulfur, plants make their protein food component. We know that the pulses contain pulses, soybean, these type of plant food actually carry proteins in it. So the protein component in plant formed by this nitrogen and sulfur. Thank you so much for today's class. We will discuss next class the reactions of photosynthesis.